Thanks, Tracy.
She went home. I saw her standing there. He says, I'm going home. Sorry, I couldn't stay.
All right, welcome everybody. We're back from executive session from our December 1st, 2020 board work session. Based on discussions in executive session, no action will be taken at this time by the board. It is 6:03 p.m. and now we will, since it has taken so long, the athletic director will be presenting his pieces at the next board meeting. But do we need to talk anything about these, Julie, or I'm sorry, Lori, or we're going to move on?
I think we'll save discussion until the athletic director is here. Danny, would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
Okay, perfect. So we'll take out number 5 and we'll move on to number 6. Turn it over to Mr. Perks.
Item number 6 is superintendent items requesting board action. There are 2 items on for consideration this evening. The first is Judith Caudell, special education aide. The purpose for having Mrs. Caudell on this evening was we enrolled a new student into the district that's now residing in Bethel. Because of their disabilities and their individualized education plan, their IEP, they need to be transported up to Troy each day. And part of their IEP requirements by law is to not only have transportation, but also a special education aide to chaperone that student to Troy and back to Bethel each day. So Mr. Cochran has worked with the ESC to secure Mrs. Caudell. The second one is Tiffany Ward-Pikus for an attendance clerk. Currently, Mrs. Butler has been serving dual roles as far as the attendance clerk in the elementary and also serving as the athletic director secretary as well. With the amount of kids that we've had absent recently and also with the continued growth in the district, the recommendation this evening is to have Mrs. Ward-Pikus on here to work at a maximum of 3 hours per day, simply doing attendance for kindergarten through 5th grade. She would be working very closely with Mrs. Butler to learn not only the EMIS system, but also progress book and fielding phone calls and emails from parents as well. And she'll also be dealing with House Bill 410 issues with truancy also. And she'll be handling any habitual or chronically truant students and correspondence that goes to those parents and families as well.
Thank you, sir. Great explanation of both those positions. Do we have a motion to approve a motion to approve the hire of the 2 individuals?
I'll make the motion. It's Julie.
Yes.
I'll second, please.
All right. So Julie had the motion and Lida had the second. Any discussion?
I just like to say an extra thank you to Reagan because I know it has been pretty stressful with all the absences and probably all the secretaries and the staff as well. But thank you for all your work.
Yes. Good point, Lori. Thank you. All right. Brennan, any further discussion? All right, Brennan, could you call the vote, please?
Ms. Reese,
Yes.
Ms. Mansfield,
Yes.
Ms. Sebastian,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. All right. Number 7, continue on, Mr. First.
This one is more of just a follow-up from previous. As you probably recall, we did a previous motion that was accepted by the board that basically stated that we were going to engage in a contract with Peterson Construction pending review of the contract. I've had Mr. Progruski review the contract. He had them make a couple of slight language changes legally that he felt better about, and they were willing to do so. Tonight, essentially, you don't need to reapprove it because you've done that preliminary, but it's just more of a review. So you guys have the document in there. I don't know if you've had a chance to review it, but wasn't sure if you had any questions in regards to it. It's fairly standard. It's AIA contract, which is the same style of contract that Garmin and Miller used for the architectural contract as well.
So will they be inserting, I see a bunch of insert amounts as the project continues. I assume that will be updated. So we're approving kind of or have approved a document where this will change over time.
Yeah, it's a living document, so it will change. So as we begin to engage in additional discussions as far as who's going to handle electrical work and all that kind of stuff, we still have to go out to bid for all of those subcontracts for electrical route. Because remember, Peterson really focuses primarily on the masonry work. So there will be other companies that come in and provide electrical, roofing, plumbing, those kind of things. We have to go out to state bid for that. And obviously you go through the bid selection process, and those prices will be secured at a later date once those subcontracts are secured.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Nothing's easy, it seems like.
Yeah, it'll be, I mean, it'll be good. It'll be good.
Well, and I think it's great that it's gone through the process, and our legal advisor, Mr. Brigurski, has reviewed it. They were willing to accept his changes. I had no further issues with the document.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything major. It was just a little bit of wording here or there as far as what he felt more comfortable with. So there wasn't any major concerns.
Okay. Moving on, number 8, treasurer's items.
Thank you, Mr. King. Board, I have the following items for review. The minutes from November 3rd, the 4th, and the 9th. Payment of bills for November. I apologize. We've been having some accounting software issues, so it took me a little longer today to get closed than expected. So those are for your review. I sent you the financial report. The one thing just to note is services were a lot higher, is only because we finally paid the setup costs for the modulars. We had some issues that we did not pay the bill until they fixed. So we held off to pay that until now. So that's why you see the little discrepancy a little bit. The amended appropriations, bond retirement is related to the certificate of participations. We issued them at a premium. What that means is we actually got more than the 28.5, but that issuance cost, the premium is to pay for like issuance costs, as well as the first couple interest payments that are in escrow. Talking to the Ohio auditor, it's best to run that through your bond retirement fund. So it's a net effect of 0. So I recorded the receipt related to the premium and the bond retirement, and then I expensed it all. So that's all that's just showing is the premium cost related to the issuance. Other local, that's related to Mr. Ted getting the all the guys getting the 3 Miami County Foundation grants, and we have received them all. So that's related to that. And then the other big one, capital projects, I had forgot to include estimated architectural costs for the athletic stadium. When we got the first bill, I forgot to, for some reason, I didn't have that in the appropriation. So that's why you see that there. G is the review of new funds. Those are related to the 3 grants that we received. Those are the fund names and the titles. Donations. Ms. Petty informed me yesterday that Huber Heights Staples donated approximately about 1,000 pencils to the elementary. And then we had a couple of anonymous donations for junior high boys and high school girls basketball. And then letter I, this is every year to adopt the alternative tax budget for January, and then in December, and then in January you'll approve the tax budget for the next year. So it's just the resolution. I think I forgot to attach the full-blown one. I'll have that attached for the minutes and or for the agenda on the 14th.
All right.
Those are my,
That, and those are for the, reviewing the meeting, for the meeting next week,
for the 14th.
for the 14th, sorry, I apologize.
Brennan, your document is there. It's there. You put the,
Oh, I put in executive.
Yeah,
it's there.
Thank you.
all right, number 9, superintendent's items for the next board meeting.
Yeah, letter A is, although it falls under superintendent's item, this is a discussion that the school board will need to have amongst yourselves
Okay.
In regards to reviewing the president pro temp for the special organizational meeting that takes place January 11th.
Okay,
Letter B, once again, we've, which is good, we've added a couple of substitute teachers to our list that have not been on previously. And so we've had to re-update our substitute teacher approved list from the ESC so they can work in our district.
excellent. And then the other items we'll have for discussion on number 10 will be funding for possibly synthetic turf. And then going through our sponsorship guide and policy changes for naming rights. That will, and this is probably, we can insert the AD in to discuss these items.
Needs to be combined with the previous.
With the previous thing he was gonna give, yeah, I think that all should be combined in a row, under 10.
And then you had Julie's thing to add to talk about the other policies.
Okay,
Yeah, the only thing I would ask is, I again apologize for getting those out so late, but please do look through those. The sponsorship guide has gone through various facets. It's been sent to the music people for that portion, the athletics portion, athletics folks, the turf committee for that portion, and the technology staff for the academic portion. So if you see any glaring errors or things you want changed, please let me know as soon as possible, because I think they would like, or I would like to see, I don't know what Danny's opinions are. I'd like to get at least something approved so they have something to work off of if we can.
So this is Julie. I have a question for you, Lori. I don't know if you can answer it or not, but I know you have a pretty good committee, like with a lot of representation, but I have to say I was surprised at how many things were up for sponsorship. And I mean, I guess what really surprised me was the classrooms. Like, is there, I guess I kind of assumed when we talked about sponsorship, I think about the stadium and the gym and, the technology I get, like some things like that. But some of the things surprised me. Was there discussion about all of these things, or was it just, taken from another template, if you will?
It was taken from another template. I didn't know, honestly, Julie, who to submit the academic one to. If we don't want to do the classrooms, we can take that out. This was a first draft.
Okay.
But I think everything except, I wasn't sure because I didn't send it to, maybe I should have sent it to Tracy Brewer in the BEA. I didn't know it's a draft. So I wanted to be kind of careful where it went.
Right. Gotcha.
and I think too is in our original naming rights document, sponsorship document that we were working on that kind of spawned this group, it did discuss classrooms and buildings and athletics. It kind of covered the entire spectrum somewhat. But that's something I think that as long as we focus on the athletics section and the sport organizations, and then look at as the administrative team, how we want to do the rooms, classrooms, things like that, we can help delineate some of that.
Yeah, so this is what occurred to me. I don't know. I mean, maybe I just haven't, since I just read it today, because we just got them. So I was trying to read through them today. But when I think back about my school days, it's the teachers that made the difference, right? So it just seemed kind of odd to me that there would be something by the door that says, this classroom is sponsored by XYZ. And I'm like I said, I'm not sure yet how I feel, but it just seemed odd to me. And maybe there's alternatives to that. Like maybe we could have a sponsorship plaque somewhere that lists all the names of people, like maybe you get money that way or have sponsorship that way where it's not on the classroom. I don't know. I'm sure there's other options, but I just wondered.
Well, this was from another template, of course, and maybe those people had a lot of that kind of thing. And maybe, I don't know if it's a big city or not, but, and the arts aspect of it is actually pending a new building, pending another building. So all these things, all that is in the very far future. The academic may never happen, but this is basically a first draft for us. So it's just someplace to start.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Well, maybe I'll get together my thoughts and write them down. And I mean, like I said, I'm probably going to think about it a little bit first because it just kind of shocked me. Like I said, that it's like almost every inch of the school is up for sponsorship. And I don't know if it's good or bad yet. I'm just saying, I haven't thought it did surprise me.
Yeah, I think too, I think keeping hold to the premise that, these sponsorships would be utilized to enhance our educational environment for our students. I think as long as we step forward looking at it in those views, it's a win-win, not only for the students, but also for the taxpayers as well. If there's an opportunity to reduce the burden on a homeowner or property owner in the district. That's kind of the goal that we were looking at for this, but also I know originally we were looking at ways to recognize long-standing members of our staff that we felt met the honorable level to be placed, name a classroom after or cafeteria or conference room or whatever those pieces may be, because of the excellence that they provided.
Right. And that part I think is more, I don't know, to me, that seems like more in line with the academic side because you're recognizing an academic person or a staff member for their contribution, which is different than a financial transaction, right?
Right. Excellent. Yep. Okay. All right. And then, Brennan, was that the last?
Yeah, it's executive session.
Executive session.
Yeah.
So next would be Julie discussing the Neola board policies for revision.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask the question. So I got all your answers, Justin, and I mean, most of them were just things, weren't anything major. But the one inconsistency that was kind of between them was one of the policies said that we will not charge a fee to students who were eligible for the free lunch or free and reduced lunch program. I can't remember exactly how it was worded. And the other ones use the word may. And I just wondered if we can change that word will to may. The answer didn't answer that question specifically. I know there's a legal difference in the terms, but I don't know if we can actually do that because it looks like it depends on maybe something how the school receives grants.
All right. To pull that up real quick. Because I thought they had made a specific reference to why it was that.
Okay, yeah, so I just brought it up here. Hold on, let me find that one. Okay, so yeah, so it says the way it was explained is that under the National School Lunch Act, some schools receive grants that allows everyone to receive a free lunch, but does not eliminate from paying school fees. Only those on free and reduced are eligible for a waiver on school fees. So it sounds like it could be changed to the word may if we want it to be. Because it says they're eligible for it, but it doesn't say it eliminates them from paying other fees. And the policy that is kind of a co-policy, use the word may. Let me see if I wrote in here which policy it was.
Julie, what's the date on that email? Because the one I'm looking at doesn't even have that question on it.
November 25th. It was a response from Justin.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, it's not highlighted. Okay. Now it's being changed.
Oh, it was in the same policy. In the paragraph before it, it says that the board may not charge those students with a serious financial need. And then the next paragraph, it says, we will not charge a fee to any student who is eligible for a free lunch.
I didn't read that as may not like optional. I read that as may not like, you may not do this.
Oh,
I think they're giving the leeway. For an example, we got a grant that pays for school lunches the whole entire school year. So it's just precluding them from also saying, well, I have a free lunch, so I cannot, I don't have to pay school fees. I think that's what they're getting around. And only those that are actually on the USDA free and reduced lunch waiver, free and reduced lunch are the ones that are eligible for a waiver on school fees. That's correct.
Right.
right. And that's why I think it's the word may.
That's what you said. The word shall is being changed to may.
I'm sorry.
So on the waiver for school fees, the word shall is being changed to may regarding the waiving of the fees. So you agree with that, but in policy 6152 under student fees, fines, and charges, there is a definitive, the board will not charge a fee to any student who is eligible for a free lunch.
Exactly.
Prior to that, it states that the board may not charge those students with a serious financial need.
That's what I was saying. They're all may, except for that one is a definitive will. It's exactly what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So for flexibility and continuity, it just seems like that one should be may. And that was the only thing I had for the policies. The rest of them I'm okay with.
All right.
I'll have to call the guy at Neola and basically his responses are what I forwarded to you.
Yeah.
So, which number is that in again?
615201 and 6152.
Okay.
The November 20.
I'll get a hold of him tomorrow, get his response, and then I'll forward it to you folks.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Okay.
So we just need to know if we can change it or not.
Okay.
Are we bound by some legal reason to leave the word will there? Even though the other ones are may.
I mean, the statement that he gave to Della was essentially, you can write the policies to a degree however you want, but if you do that, you don't receive the liability protection that Neola provides. So because their attorneys or whoever writes it, you're protected under whatever. If you start changing words and writing it on your own, then that protection is off the table because it's essentially your written policy. But
So then I guess that becomes part of the question. If we do change it, are we then not protected?
I'm not saying it applies to that. He just said in general.
I understand.
But I'll ask if we can change may and shall in 6152.01.
No, change will to may.
Or will to may, excuse me.
And Brennan, I'm going to jump in here. I know you probably haven't had time to read all your emails, but I needed that one policy checked with Neola for naming rights. Can I get with Della tomorrow and see if we can make some progress on that, since you sound like you've got a full plate?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
I think she also sent that to me, to
Yeah.
him today.
I think she sent that to him today, but you can follow up with her tomorrow.
Okay, I'll call her and follow up. I just didn't want to get in the middle between you two, so thank you.
All right, any further discussion on those? Does anybody have a need for executive session, an additional one? All right, moving number 12, adjournment of the meeting. Do we have a recommended motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move.
So Danny beat you?
That's fine. I'll second.
All right, then line up for the second. Any further discussion? All right, Brennan, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Ms. Mansfield,
Yes.
Ms. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Sebastian.
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned at 6:29. Thank you for viewing.